Before we introduce ourselves and get into the agenda, I'm just going to go very quickly through some housekeeping whilst I can still see there are a few people joining. Hopefully you can hear us. Hopefully you can all see us. Don't worry, we can't hear or see you. We do want to make this this session as interactive as possible though. So what you'll be able to see on the side of your screen, which is going to be over here or over here or over here, I'm not sure, is a little box where you can ask some questions. We do encourage questions throughout the session. What we'll do is try and get round to as many as we can towards the end, assuming we have some time left. What would also be really nice for us as well is if you could just pop in there where you're joining from. Not for anything in particular other than we'd find it interesting to where in the world you are based. And what we'd also like as well, we won't be going through a full system demo in today's presentation. So if that is something you wanted to see, just pop the word demo in the box on the side and that will let us know that you wanted us to follow up with you and we can schedule some time from there. But what we'll do now is we'll introduce ourselves. I will go first. My name is Harry. I am part of the commercial team here at Kefron. I've been with the company for coming up to 5 years now, and my role is to speak with businesses and organizations around UK, Ireland, and the USA, understand their accounts payable process, see if there's any challenges they're facing, and talk about implementing our AI-based accounts payable automation platform, which is named Kefron AP. Mark, how are you?
Not too bad, Harry. How are you?
Very good, thank you, very good. Would you mind introducing yourself for our lovely audience?
Not at all. Thanks for getting us kicked off. Hi, everyone. Don't expect any responses. I know we can't hear you. But yeah, I've just joined the business back in November of last year, coming across from the world of bus to the world of accounts payable. So I used to work for a company called CitySwift, where we basically helped bus companies to make their buses run more on time, harnessing big data and AI, and helping to kind of speed up a lot of their manual back office processes. So some similarities coming across to the world of accounts payable, but definitely stepping into a new area, and excited for the session today. Do you want to flick over, Harry, and we can run through the agenda?
Absolutely, I will, yep. Mark and I aren't going to pretend to be experts in automation, but what we're going to try and do is, given our insights and what we do on a day-to-day job, show you what we're seeing, talk through some of the myths, and go through a quick demo. Mark, I'll let you run through the formal agenda here.
Perfect. Thanks, Harry. I suppose 4 key things we're going to try and cover off in today's session. So the first thing we want to address is what's real, what's not real in terms of, and what's myth and what's reality in terms of AP automation. There's always a lot of buzz around new trends, including AI being no different. So we'll aim to provide an inside view into just basically debunking some common misperceptions about what AI is and what it's not in regards to accounts payable automation. Then part 2, we'll move on to the proven benefits that AI is providing to purchase ledger teams across the world, and some of the ones that we're very lucky to work with at Kefron AP, and how it's helping them to effectively streamline their P2P operations. Thirdly, Harry's been at Kefron for over 4 years. He's been involved and worked on many different implementation projects, and more recently, some projects where AI functionality is now being used by our customers. So we'll pass over to Harry for part 3 to run through some real world success stories and examples from our customers across the world. And then we, as Harry mentioned, we'll dive into the platform, do a quick demo, show you how AI is being applied in accounts payable. And finally, then we'll offer some thoughts on kind of future trends and what's coming next in terms of the world of AI and AP automation. So that's the plan for today's webinar, and you're very welcome.
Perfect.
Cool. Harry's controlling the slide, so he'll be flicking over for me. Thanks, Harry. So I suppose the first thing, myth versus reality. So what are some of the common things that we hear about AI and AP automation? I suppose one of the things that we hear a lot from purchase ledger teams in particular is AI will replace the need for humans. Another thing we hear is AI is only for large enterprises. It's not fully ready yet. And the other thing is that on the other side of the spectrum, you have a lot of people that think AI is a silver bullet that's going to fix all of their accounts payable challenges and problems. I suppose just to address the first one in terms of replacing humans, I know AI and AP automation, they kind of go hand in hand together. So we really see it as a tool for supercharging AP automation professionals to do their jobs more efficiently. So not having to spend as much time on manual data entry and some of those repetitive tasks, and really being, empowered to focus on the areas that they can add value and overseeing the whole process. And And AI is really taking off. We're seeing it across different industries. ChatGPT, for an example, has about 3.66 billion visits every month, over 100 million active users. So AI is really cropping up as something that people are starting to embrace to just be more efficient and to save themselves an awful lot of time. I suppose to touch on the second one, AI over the past few years has definitely become more embedded in the tools that we use. And you've even seen it in Google. If you search anything on Google now, you get an AI overview of your search, just so that you can get the information that you need faster and you're not having to spend as much time looking for it. So it's a really, really useful tool that's being implemented and used by different departments and different companies. Many smaller companies are now also embracing AI and different tools just to leverage efficiencies and give themselves a competitive advantage. I suppose in terms of the last point, many people think AI is a silver bullet and will fix all of their problems, but as Harry will go through later and show you on the demo, AI is really useful in certain applications, especially when it comes to accounts payable, but it's not a silver bullet that's going to just magically fix everything, process everything first time, extract all of the information off of the document and just do all of the work. We need AI and purchase ledger and skilled accounting professionals working together to I suppose streamline the process. Perfect. I suppose in terms of where we see AI being applied really effectively, so AI in particular is really, really useful when it comes to the capture, scanning, and extraction of data off of an invoice. And Harry's going to run through an example later, so I won't dwell on it for too long, but that's really one area that we've seen AI, I suppose, just really, really improve in the last couple of years, and it's now embedded in key functionality within the Kefron AP system. That's kind of the start of the process, and if you can get that part of it right, the data extraction right, there's a lot of downstream benefits that we're seeing. So we're seeing that it's really improving workflows. When we get the data extraction right at the start, we're then able to increase our automation rates and process more documents touch-free, which is then freeing up more time for purchase ledger teams to focus on other value-adding tasks within accounts payable, or also if it's a smaller team, to look at things like the sales ledger side as well. And then I suppose on the last point there, significant effort is required to design and teach AI about specific workflows. So I suppose one of the things that is really important to us at Kefron AP is that we keep a human in the loop when it comes to AI, because there's stuff that the AI needs to learn, it needs to improve, and it needs people training it. And I'm sure Harry will touch on that point later as well. But yeah, I suppose just to call that out, that keeping people involved in that process, teaching the AI to continuously improve, is also something that's really important when it comes to AI being applied effectively in accounts payable automation.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point you've made there, Mark, that we still have a human in the loop within our platform specifically. AI is still a relatively new thing. It has come on leaps and bounds over the last couple of years, but it's still being developed, and it's not at the peak of what we expect it to be yet. I don't want there to be any misconceptions that there is AI like ChatGPT built into the Kefron platform. It is very different to that, but I think at the moment, seeing AI without a human interaction with it as well is not going to be as powerful as combined AI and human working together.
Yeah, I think that's an important point, Harry. I suppose in terms of this slide, just some statistics that we've pulled together looking at the UK government website and a number of different sources. So one thing that jumped out was 9 billion being lost globally every single year to invoice fraud and duplicate payments. Duplicate payments definitely more common when it comes to talking to accounts payable teams. But I was scrolling earlier looking at information in relation to invoice fraud, and I came across a case that's just 6 days old in London, where there was somebody in a HR department who had embezzled about 100K over a period of time from their company, just by changing the bank details on the invoices that were coming into their own. And there's been a whole trial that's just gone on recently down in London, and they've been sentenced. But it's just, I suppose, we see that a little bit, but it's definitely increasing in recent years, with people swapping out bank details, and fraudulent invoices are definitely on the rise. 9 billion being lost globally is such a huge number, and really jumped out at us when we were going through the stats. I suppose in terms of the second one, 92% of UK businesses often pay suppliers late. This is I suppose a really interesting number. So yeah, just such a huge volume of businesses paying suppliers late. It can be really disruptive when it comes to the supply chain. So especially for smaller businesses and suppliers that different businesses are working with, that don't have the same kind of cash flow that a larger multinational company would have. So just really interesting one. A lot of that can be down to things like delays in the P2P process, caused by manual processes, slow approvals, having to wait for goods to be receipted in the business. I suppose, Harry, just to throw it over to you, you've been in the AP space a lot longer than me. What are some of the biggest things that are slowing down processing for AP teams?
So I guess from our research, one of the biggest things that we find is the manual data entry. And from speaking with our own finance team internally and speaking to businesses day in, day out across the whole Kefron commercial team, we kind of figured out that about 40% of the average time in a month for a person working in accounts payable is spent just on manual data entry. And that can be a huge drain on resources. It can slow things down because a lot of businesses that we speak to will be receiving the bulk of their invoices at month end. So the first couple of weeks during the month are quite quiet, and then the last 2 weeks can be very full on. And yeah, that can, if you're not getting your invoices onto your system in time, approved on time, then that can mean that suppliers might be being paid late. So that, yeah, I'd say that's probably the biggest strain.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. I just figured I'd ask the question. I suppose in terms of the other numbers down, as you mentioned, Harry, there's such volumes coming into some of these AP teams, right? And it's not always spread out evenly. A lot of the times, it's just very patchy. It could be very busy periods of the year, or it could be all of the invoices are coming in at a particular time of the month and putting pressure on people. So yeah, just I suppose something that jumped out was that the average AP clerk every month on average is processing about 1,000 invoices. It's just such a huge volume of invoices coming into some of these purchase ledger teams. And then, when you look at purchase ledger teams that have manual processes and they have to get through that volume, it can oftentimes mean, working extra hours, putting in extra shifts just to make sure that things are getting processed in time, especially at different times of the year where, you may, especially if you even think about some seasonal businesses, just the way that the invoices are coming in can just vary so wildly throughout the year. I suppose to the last point then, 7.4 billion owed to UK businesses and overdue invoices. Now that was from financial year 2023, obviously 2024 is still yet to come to a close, but just such a huge volume of money outstanding to different UK businesses, and again, just due to overdue invoices, which could be caused by some of those delays that we spoke about earlier, not to dwell too long.
Excellent. I think it's, again, interesting you said there, 1,000 invoices processed by an average person who works in accounts payable. A lot of the time when we speak to businesses, the people in accounts payable want to be able to do so much more, so many more value adding tasks for the business, but they're just not able to with the amount of time spent purely on manually processing invoices. And that's, I guess for me, that's one of the biggest wins of Kefron. It's the time you get back to allow your accounts payable team to develop as finance people, to do things that they enjoy more in their role, and to add value to your business. And yeah, that's something that we really like to see when we start working with a new client. What I will do is, we're still on the proven benefits here, aren't we, Mark?
Yeah. Just conscious of time, I'll just flick through this quickly. So I suppose in terms of just some of the benefits, and we've spoken about them throughout the presentation so far, that automation is delivering and AI is delivering for clients, and Harry's going to jump through some real world success stories and jump into the platform then from there. But yeah, what we've seen is really an increase in the data extraction accuracy as a function of AI now being involved in that process and just getting better at reading documents, which then means more documents are being processed touch-free with higher levels of automation, and that is just giving lots of time back to purchase ledger professionals, like you say, Harry, to focus on things like training and development, supplier statement reconciliation, sales ledger if it's in a smaller business, So there's just so many benefits that it's providing. Time back being the second one there, and then also just a better process, a more scalable process with less errors and less delays, meaning that your suppliers are getting paid on time, they're happier, and then sometimes you can look at things like renegotiating terms with some of those suppliers as well.
Exactly.
Over to you, Harry.
Thank you, Mark. What we're going to go through now is just a few success stories and a few of our Kefron's customers that I'm going to talk about and show you a bit of graphical information on some of their automation rates. But very quickly, I just wanted to talk about our kind of entire customer base here. Now, whilst we'll be talking about a few in more detail, this is just another sample of customers we work with. And the reason we like to show this is to kind of explain that we are completely industry agnostic. You can see there's councils on there, there is manufacturing businesses, there is healthcare businesses, even down to kind of small bakeries we work with who are experiencing an increased workload in accounts payable. We're also system agnostic as well. So Kefron isn't built to replace your core finance system. That will still very much be part of your process. What we will do is integrate into it, and we integrate into a large number of different core finance systems, ERP systems, whatever it is you're using. Each of our clients do have AI built into their specific environments. That will be in a few different parts, but the key ones are the data extraction part, the line item matching, and the machine learning at coding as well. All of our customers, although accounts payable and finance is very similar and consistent across what they're doing, they're getting invoices in to pay suppliers. I'm sure everyone on the call here have strange scenarios and slightly strange processes that you know about which go on within your organization. So everyone's objectives and business cases for looking at AP automation are completely different. And that's why I'm going to bring up 3 different examples and at a really high level, just go through what their kind of core or key wins for implementing Kefron AP were. So the first one is a company called Regatta, which hopefully you've heard of. They are wholesalers and they'll manufacture outdoor clothing, boots, bags, those kind of things. One of their key drivers for implementing an accounts payable automation system was to remove paper from the process. So pre-Kefron, they were printing off all of their invoices and they were having them on the desk next to purchase orders and manually keying in data into their finance system. Now, what that equated to, strangely, was around 420 something trees per year being cut down just for the amount of paper they were using to process their invoices. And being very environmentally friendly, Regatta wanted to move away from that. There was also some other things involved with printing off invoices, which meant that an automated system would be better. One of them being the constant risk of human error. So if you've got a piece of paper in front of you, if they're smudged on the printer or you can't quite read it or you hit the wrong key when entering it, at the very start of the process, you've made an error which will eventually snowball and you might be paying the wrong supplier. You might pay the supplier the wrong amount. You might add an extra 0, which is very, very painful to deal with. So after implementing Kefron, what we're able to do is automate a lot of their process. You can see on the screen here, I will just explain these graphs for you. We've got 2 different graphs. We've got one for automation rates of verification, and that's where an invoice gets into Kefron and it passes all of the business rule checks that we have on it. Now, some of the business rule checks include stopping invoices that are duplicates, stopping invoices with missing key information, stopping invoices if there is a significant change to the invoice format, and that's an anti-fraud check, stopping an invoice if the bank details don't match what we have on file for the supplier. So those are the kind of invoices that are stopped to verification. PO matching verification that you can see on the right, that is where we've extracted invoice data and we're matching it to PO and or GRN data. And if it matches first time, it goes through. If it doesn't, it's stopped in the Kefron system. So pretty decent automation rates you can see there. If you're processing 1,000 invoices a month, you're getting about 90% of those passing through touch-free. That's a significant amount of time you're getting back each month to be doing things which are adding more value. The next one we wanted to speak about is Trinity College Dublin, it's a university in Ireland. Mark, you didn't go to Trinity College Dublin, did you?
I did not. No. I believe they were one of my options, but I ended up going to University of Limerick. So we wouldn't call ourselves rivals, but definitely not Trinity.
Excellent. Okay. Well, you'd be able to see the difference here between the Regatta automation rates and the Trinity College automation rates is there is a dip in the PO matching verification rates. Now, I mentioned earlier that every single business has a different business case as to why they're implementing a system like Kefron. One of the key ones for Trinity College Dublin was they wanted better compliance for when they are audited, because that was something that was really important to them. So what we had to do was build in specific business rules, which happened to stop a few more invoices at PO matching verification, but that's because Trinity College wanted visibility of those before they passed through automatically. Now, what that meant was it took a dip in the automation rate, but they're still 50%, over 50% of their invoices are passing through touch-free from that process. Now, I'm not sure where the listeners at the moment are with their AP automation journey. Maybe you're talking to a few different vendors. If you are ever promised 100% automation, I would be quite skeptical about that. It probably isn't even something that you'd want as part of your process, because if you're passing through everything 100% automatically, you are going to see an impact in the accuracy rates. So what we want to do at Kefron is stop invoices that we think you need visibility of within the platform before they get into your core system and before you pay that supplier. Now, last one I want to talk about here is a company called White Mackay, who are they're a whiskey manufacturer, and you might have seen a few of their bottles on the shelves previously. And being in the manufacturing space, they often received invoices with multiple lines on them. So an invoice comes in with loads of different lines for different sizes of glass, different ingredients for the whiskey, for their labels, things like that. Now, what we're able to do in Kefron is, because you have a purchase order for an invoice like that, we can match at a line level the extracted data from the invoices, so the lines from the invoices to lines from the purchase order, and we're able to display where there's any discrepancies. Now, after working with White & Mackay for a while, you can see that we're able to increase their automation rates, and they're above 90% automation, although they have some quite complex invoices. This is a real success story for us. One of the other things that White & Mackay wanted, and Mark, you mentioned this earlier, just on fraud prevention, they wanted to ensure that we're checking the bank details that are on the invoices against the bank details that are in their core system. And we're able to do that within the Kefron environment. And anything that doesn't match, or if there's a significant change, we will stop and we will present it to you. And that's just one of the anti-fraud checks within the system. Now, we're not going to go through a full system demo here. We definitely do not have enough time for that, but I thought it might be useful just to flash up the system so you get to see it. So this is the logon screen when you first load up Kefron. It is a cloud-based system, so assuming you can get onto online, you can get onto Kefron. I'm going to be going into my demo environment as James, the AP analyst. So I'll log in here. And what you'll be able to see in Kefron when you first log in is this dashboard. And on this dashboard, we have these things, and we call these data banks. Effectively, these are going to become your digital filing cabinets within Kefron, and we can split them up into specific document types, as I have here. So one for my PO invoices, one for my non-PO invoices, one for purchase order data, and one for GRN data. We can also split it up by entity as well. So if you're a company that has multiple entities or multiple sites, we can split those up into tabs up the top just to keep things separated and nice and neat on your system. Now, what I want to show you within the demo is I'm going to search in the PO invoice data bank, and this will bring me to the document center, but filter it to PO invoices for me. So this is just PO invoices within the document center. And status, I want to look at documents successfully processed, which is down here. And then I'm going to click on this second invoice here, just to give you a look of the workspace within Kefron. Now, what you'll be able to see is all the extracted information from the invoice here in front of you. If I wanted to see the document, I can bring it across here from the left, and I can zoom in if I need to. If I need to look at anything on the document itself. What we've done is we've hidden the document to the side because we found that our customers needed a slightly bigger working space to be able to go through all the lines and match anything they need to. So just to explain what we've got the extracted header level information at the top. So we figured out it's a PO invoice. We've got the invoice number, the supplier, the order number, date, and whether it's a debit or credit. This one has been tagged to the winter event. You can apply tags in Kefron in case you needed to categorize invoices. And then we've got the lines from the purchase order here. Now there's a couple of ways that Kefron uses AI, which I will be able to talk through here with you. The first one is during extraction. So we use a combination of different extraction technologies to pull off the information that's required from all of your documents within Kefron. We use that, as we mentioned earlier, in combination with our managed service, which is a team of people that are constantly supporting that extraction technology to ensure the highest rates of extraction accuracy possible. The second place we use it is during the line matching part. So what Kefron has done is extracted the lines from the invoice. It's found the relevant lines to match it to on the purchase order. And we're conscious that if you're raising a purchase order, sending it to a supplier, the invoice they send back might not be an exact, the description might not match exactly. So what we've got is AI involved with, it's called a suggested level of tolerance. So the description on the invoice needs to match the description on the PO to a certain extent, as well as the unit price and quantity for the lines to match up successfully. And we've developed that for a number of years now. We've been putting a lot of resources into ensuring that it's the highest level of accuracy possible. What I'll also show on this document here itself is the activity panel. Now this is where we can see any comments or files that have been added, any emails that have been sent from the system, or any actions. If I scroll down here, I can see when the document was created, I can see when the extraction took place, I can see it successfully matched to the purchase order, and the invoice document was moved to successfully processed. These first 4 steps were all done by the system, so this is a touch-free document. The invoice came into Kefron, we pulled off the data, we found the PO, we matched them together, we posted it to your finance system. That's completely touch-free, and that's what we want to achieve with as many invoices as possible, while still maintaining complete accuracy across the whole process. Now, I did mention this was a very quick demo. I'm going to leave it there for now, but please, if you did want to see more, just pop the word demo in that comment section on the side there, and we'll make sure to reach out to you to go through that. What I'm going to do now is, before we get into kind of questions and answers from the side, pass back to Mark, and we're going to go through what we expect to see from our knowledge in 2025 that's kind of shaping AI and the trends we expect to see.
I guess it's really hard to call, isn't it, Harry? Because it's just, I mean, it's such a rapidly evolving landscape, and we're seeing AI being applied more and more in different areas that, to be fair, you know, a lot of us probably didn't think possible. But I suppose just some of it's anyone's guess, but just some of the things that we expect to continue to see into 2025 and beyond is just AI getting better and better and rapidly evolving and changing. I suppose the other thing is you know, more and more businesses adopting AI to streamline their back office processes and just make it more efficient, so that they can just be leaner, more agile, and just, I suppose, more set up for supporting the growth of their business. And then I suppose the last thing is just AI becoming increasingly adaptable and accessible to assist with more everyday tasks across the board. You know, I suppose me personally, in the last year, I've started using a lot more tools, and I've seen a lot more AI embedded into those tools. And I expect that, you know, as we go forward into 2025 and beyond, we're going to continue to see more and more AI delivering value, streamlining things, making it more efficient, and just improving the usability of different platforms as well. Anything that you expect, Harry, on your side as well?
I'm excited to see what's coming. What I would add to this is, we don't expect AI to be replacing people and taking their jobs. What we want it to be doing is doing the boring parts of your job for you. It's not there to take away what the person in the position. It's there to assist them the whole time and make things better. And I do think businesses need to ensure that it's something they're looking into, because if you're not keeping up with the trend, there is a chance you'll be left behind if AI develops a lot and can really increase profitability within businesses. But yeah, it's definitely not going to be replacing people's jobs anytime soon. Mark, I can see there's a few questions coming on the side. Should we go through those before we wrap up then?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great. Okay, let's see what we've got. We've got a question here from Vivek. Can we split by supplier category, as each will be processed by a specific AP clerk? What I think you're talking about here, Vivek, and I will follow up with this with you, is talking about splitting invoices within the system so they're processed by specific people in accounts payable, which is something we can do. We can work with you to build in business rules to ensure that specific people or users of Kefron can be dealing with different supplier categories. I will follow up with you just to clarify that's what you meant, and if you had any other questions on that. How easy is the integration with primary ERP? So this is going to depend on the ERP system. We do have custom APIs built for certain connectors for certain ERP systems. We've got an open API. Other than that, we can do a file exchange between the two systems. So yeah, what we want to know is which system or systems you're using, and then we can explain how easy that would be from there. I've got a question. How long does it typically take for business to see measurable ROI after implementing AP automation? That is a good question. And again, it's one of those it depends answers, because it depends on how many people in accounts payable you've got, how many invoices you're receiving, how long it's taking you to process invoices each month. But what we like to see is between that 3 to 6 month period after implementing a system like Kefron, that's when you're seeing peak automation rates, and that's hopefully when you're looking to start to get an ROI from the system.
It's pretty immediate as well, I would say, Harry. Because if once you switch over, if you're processing 1,000 invoices a month manually and it's taking you 2 or 3 minutes per invoice, it really starts to add up all the manual tasks. And to be fair, we're just streamlining an awful lot of those manual tasks and giving you time back straight away, and immediate time savings for your team to look at other things. A lot of the time, the other tasks that they can do that purchase ledger teams can do will also be value adding as well, and need to be taken into account.
Very good point, Mark. Very good. Guys and girls, I can see there are still a few more questions we haven't answered. We are just over. So what we'll do is we promise we'll reach out to you and go through all these questions with you, and we will schedule some follow-ups to answer any more questions you have. Don't want to take up any more of your time today, but wanted to say thank you very much for joining. I will just pop over to this last slide here. What you'll be able to see on screen is contact details for myself and Mark, as well as QR codes. If you scan those QR codes, it'll take you to our LinkedIn pages. You can connect with us there and ask any other questions. So, Mark, thank you very much.
Thanks, Harry. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers, all.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.